let me clarify that he was the ex-president, but they was
Ex-president.
president. He wasn't the
Correct.
sitting president.
Right. Okay.
However, I get a call from NBA headquarters, David Stern's office, that President Clinton wants to be in my box. It might have been the Lakers game, or it was 2001. It was during one of those great series. It was either Toronto, Milwaukee, or Lakers. And he wanted to come into my box and sit there. And he was just coming back from Wimbledon. I said, no way. Wait, I mean, he comes in, then he has to have his entourage and his Secret Service and all my buddies, the river rats and corner guys and bikers and anyone from the street to the elite who was with me during this journey from worst to first over 5 years are going to be axed out. And everyone's going to have to sit there on their hands, those who are left? No way. So next thing I know, 2 boxes down is Comcast box. There's our suite that I would take during the Sixers games and that's not during the Flyers games. A box and then another one. Brian Roberts calls me and says, Pat, what happened? I had to give my box up to President Clinton. I said, well, no, you didn't. He said, well, yes, I did. I said, well, I didn't, and I wasn't. Yeah. And so, Chris, so funny. During the game, and I would only let the dance team come out 3 or 4 times, and they leave. They weren't like cheerleaders. This was a show. So we're looking over there. Everyone's looking. There's the president just 1 box over, sitting in the first row, but he's not paying attention to the game. However, at the break of the first quarter, the dance team comes out. You see him reach below, get out the binoculars, and he's watching the dance team.
Most of us never learned how to train our brains, which is why most of us needlessly settle, struggle, and worse, suffer. My name is Chris Doris, and I want to make brain training mainstream. This is my series, Tough Talks, Conversations on Mental Toughness. I'm interviewing badasses from all walks of life on what mental toughness means to them and their unique approaches to strengthening their minds. Hey everybody, welcome back to Tough Talks, Conversations on Mental Toughness. I am your host, Chris Doris, and before we get to the introduction of our remarkable guest today, I'm super pumped about this guy. Let's take care of our singular housekeeping item, as always, which is if you're not getting the daily dose mental toughness tips in 30 seconds or less delivered to your email inbox every morning at around 6 a.m. wherever you are in the world, 365 days a year. And if you're not getting my blog posts in your email every Tuesday, and if you're not getting notified of these new Tough Talks podcast episodes, then let's fix that all up virtually effortlessly by going to ChristopherDoris.com/lists, L-I-S-T-S, ChristopherDoris.com/lists, name, email, click. All right, our guest today is named Pat Croce. I love that I get to say that. I've known about Pat Croce for most of my life because he's a Philly boy. And growing up around Philly and being a huge sports fan, everybody knows who Pat Croce is. Pat Croce is a freaking icon. And Philly's a tough city to become, like, you know, adorned in, like, to be loved and to be loved sustainably. Well, he's one of the few. Because of who he is, you know. And I'll read you his bio in a second. You know, the short version is he was a physical trainer who ascended into the ranks and ultimately became a minority owner of the freaking the NBA team in Philly, Sixers, which is my squad. He worked with all my boys. He worked with my sports hero, Dr. J, and my baseball hero from the Philadelphia Phillies, Schmitty, Michael Jack Schmidt, Mike Schmidt. So those are my 2 sports heroes of all time, and he trained them, which is cool. So anyway, he's a physical trainer and ends up being a part owner of the Sixers, which is amazing. And there's incredible stories. We'll dig into some of them. You know, then, you know, he sells off his partners up, his ownership share, and he's doing business, his cool shit, and really cool shit. Actually, some stuff down in Key West and St. Augustine, Florida. One of my favorite. I love Key West. I love Key West. And one of my favorite places was his former, it's called the Rum Barrel It's gone. It's closed now. I'm gonna have to give him a rash of shit for that because there's that cool logo. It's the Phillies and the Pirates. He's all in the Pirates. He's way into pirate. He's into a lot of shit. He's into a lot of stuff. So, but one of the things he's into Pirates is one of his books, which is just he's got a whole bunch of books out. I mean, the guy does all this shit. He's like in phenomenal. I think he's almost 70. Wait till you see him. You're like that guy ain't. And he's in phenomenal shape. And he went deep recently. I think within the last decade, he decided to unplug and go off into the wilderness and do a deep dive into consciousness. And that's I just can't wait, to explore that with him. He, a good friend of mine, Tim Mooney, shout out Tim, thank you brother, is friends with Pat, and he created the introduction. And he told me that one of the things that Pat does is called the Sangha, the meditation hill. Sangha. Sangha is a Sanskrit word for that means a community. So every Sunday, Pat facilitates a 90-minute meeting where they explore some consciousness stuff like that. And then now, so the topic for last week's Sangha happened to be pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. Tim told me that, and I thought, Tim, can we get Pat on the podcast? And he set it up, so now we got him, and I'm freaking pumped about that, and I can't wait to hear about all kinds of things Philly and all kinds of things optional suffering. All right. Oh, let me read you his bio. Okay, so Pat Croce has enjoyed diverse entrepreneurial careers in sports medicine, professional sports, and the hospitality industry. Pat is a New York Times best-selling author. His entrepreneurial endeavors included growing his sports physical therapist business to 40 centers across 11 states before selling for a huge sum to NovaCare. Props. In 1996, Pat became minority owner and CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers, where he led them from last place in 1996 to the NBA Finals in 2001. For the past 8 years, he's been on a spiritual journey around the world, leading inward. And for the past 3 years, he's hosted Meditation Hill Sangha via Zoom for all with a love for the truth, ranging from movie producers, college professors, veterans of war. Pat's the founder of the American Cancer Society HEALed community. HEALed, by the way, stands for Health and Energy Through Active Living Every Day. Community movement. His spiritual path guided him through his experience as a cancer patient and fueled his partnership with the American Cancer Society to launch the Healed Community Movement, raising over $2 million with a membership of over 700. And when I asked his amazing assistant, and shout out to Lauren McShay, thank you for your help in arranging this so quickly and thoroughly. I messaged Lauren. I said, hey, I really want to make sure that I always honor my guests. Like, my first priority is you, the tribe, and my second priority here is to honor and serve our guests. So I told her that, and I said, well, let's make sure that we, I'm clear on what Pat's top priority here is, and promote it or talk about it. What is it? And she wrote back, it's very simple. Pat's top priority is to wake up the world from their personal suffering. How good is that? Well, let's chat, shall we? Let's chat, Pat. Where you at? Pasquale. I didn't know your name was Pasquale.
Pasquale Crew.
Pasquale. Come stai?
Bene.
Bene, molto bene. Well, it's great to see you, man. It's great to meet you. Thank you so much for making time to bless my Tough Talks tribe with your incredible presence.
Well, thank you, Chris. I'm honored to be on, and tough.
It's tough to say.
Tribe. How do you say it? What is it?
Tough Talks.
Tough Talks tribe.
The podcast is called Tough Talks, and that's a tribe. Right on, man. So, you know what I wanted to start with? I also love pirates.
Oh.
Of all the damn books that you've written, this is the one I chose to get, man. Because that's the one that popped for me.
It's good.
This is ridiculous.
That's good. A lot of work and passion went into that.
I can tell. I mean, it's like a guidebook on how to be a pirate. There's even look at this. We've got a map.
No, it's like a pirate book for dummies, but truly with true legends of piracy. And back in the day, I was really infatuated, and I'm again I believe in following your enthusiasm, and I always was passionate about pirates, just the way they operated, the freedom with which they fought the the, the British royalty, the way they let slaves be free as part. They'd sign the orders of piracy to come on board. Everyone knew that they got a share, and it was welfare and
Mm.
handicap insurance prior to workers' comp back in the day. And I got to dive some great wrecks, Blackbeard's
Uh,
Queen's Revenge. And I went after the great pirate of all time, Sir Drake,
oh yeah.
Sir Francis Drake. I mean, here was a
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you went. There's. I read somewhere in my.
Panama. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So, I'm a big fan of Key West.
Well, this pirate museum, we moved it out of Key West.
I know. It's St. Augustine, right?
St. Augustine.
So, but I mean, I'm a huge fan of Key West. So, I got my rum barrel hat right here, baby.
Unfortunately, Rum Barrel's not still in
I
existence.
know. What the hell?
Once we moved the Pirate Museum from Key West, where it did not work, to St. Augustine, where it works unbelievable because pirates really did walk those shores. There may be pirates living in Key West and pirates visiting Key West, but it never really was a piratical island where Sir Francis Drake and Robert Searles, they did plunder St. Augustine back in the 16th, 17th century. So when that left, the Rum Barrel didn't have a differentiator compared to the other 400 bars, restaurants in Key West. So it just didn't
It
work.
did for me.
Oh, it did I
it
loved
did for
it.
me. I don't have any hats from any other day. I don't have a hat from Sloppy Joe's. Okay,
I loved it, Chris. But you know what? Sometimes you say, okay,
done.
doesn't
We're done. Let's
move
move
on.
on. Well, that's interesting because I just read people in the introduction your really remarkable biography. It's your life is so cool, man. You went to Pitt, you started as a physical therapist, you created an unbelievable business, an unbelievably successful business. Now the Sixers hired you. Well, you were working for the Flyers, right? At the time.
Yes,
What was that?
it's just a text message came up.
Oh, it's a mindfulness bell.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Mindfulness bell, man. Woo. So you're working for the Flyers or with the Flyers, and then the Sixers hired you to help bulk up Sean Bradley, the 7'6" dude. That
Well, it
actually
was even
not
before that. It was even before that because Andrew Toney was injured.
Andrew Toney.
So 1980, I started with the Flyers as a consultant.
Okay.
It was started by training Paul Holmgren, who was the enforcer on the team prior to being a coach and GM in martial arts. And then in 81, Pat Quinn hired me full time as the first physical conditioning coach in the NHL. And luckily, as you said, I had a physical therapy degree, but I also had a certification in athletic training. So I
Okay.
melted the two into
All right.
what we now know as the realm of sports medicine. And
Mm.
then around 1985, Harold Katz contacted me, one about Andrew Toney, two about Charles Barkley to get the round mound of rebound down from 300 pounds to, we did eventually get to 250, but I was not his favorite individual.
Why not?
Charles was just an art form in himself. He was like Allen Iverson decades later. He loved the game, but the training off the court, no, that wasn't part of him. Now forget about strength training. He did bicycle at times, but he really didn't. He was not one who did what we used to call off the ice training and flyers and off the court training with like Doc and Mo and even
OG.
Big Mo, even Moses did it. So,
Moses.
but that was so for a decade.
Man, you work with so many of my heroes. Chocolate Thunder.
Oh
And
yeah,
Dr. J, Dr. J, as I mentioned, is my all-time sports. I've never met the doc. I want to get him on the podcast. He is my all-time sport. So when I was growing up, just for fun here, I was blessed that in our house over in Collingswood, we had a full court basketball court in the side yard, which is sweet. And I loved it when it would rain and there was a Sixers game on, right? Because so I watched the game. I would just study Doc and his moves, and I go outside with a rubber basketball so that I could palm off the dribble if it was wet because it was sticky, and then I could do all Doc's. I could imitate all Doc's moves.
He was wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. He still is a wonderful human being, but I enjoyed working with Doc because
Oh,
he
yeah,
would do, and at the time when he came in, I didn't have the Philadelphia Phillies, but I had two of the Phillies who were mine, who trained with me, Mike Schmidt and
Smitty. I think I've heard.
Maddox,
I think I've heard. And who else?
Gary Maddox.
Harry Maddox.
Well, those two came every morning, and Doc would come in, and
Netherfield.
there'd be Julius and Mike Schmidt together training, and it was just like whoa, like
Wow.
these.
Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. This is like
Every once in a while, since Bobby Clark lived over by your way,
Voorhees. He lived
come
over
in.
in Uvium.
He'd come in. So now I had like the hat trick of
That's
Phillies.
ridiculous. Wow. All you needed was Randall come in there,
Yeah, I didn't do
or
anything.
Ron, or Jaws.
Yeah, I didn't do anything with the Eagles. They didn't contact me.
Well, shame on them.
Oh,
So,
that's okay. They did
so
well.
what's that?
They did well.
Yes, and they're doing well now. So anyway, you're built. So you were, I guess, you were building right your business at the same time as you're working with the teams. You
Oh,
had to,
sure. Oh, are you kidding me, Chris? That's how it helped me build the business. I use that notoriety and
right?
that platform as a
That's
marketing.
where you got your insane street cred.
Well, that if I could help the pros get back on the court, ice, or field,
Yeah,
then how about if we treat you in the same way?
yeah,
Exact same way. We're not going to cast a sprained ankle. We're not going to have you sit in warm Epsom salts. No, we're going to put you in contrast baths and tape you and give you exercises. And you're going to move your ass till you're better and get back to play, work, sports, weekend warrior, whatever it might be.
yeah, man. So it worked. Wow, just a good confluence of events, right? And then you sold your business for a pretty penny, and then became minority owner of the Sixers, which was such an amazing story for people from Philadelphia because everybody knows the story and loves the story.
Mhm.
It's a remarkable story. Do you still appreciate that?
I rarely delve into the past, Chris, but that was a fun transformation from the locker room or the training room to the boardroom. And I never lost from where I come. So if you grow up on the corner and you move into business, you treat everyone with respect. It's the same in sports. If they knew I was in the locker room and training room and now I'm in the boardroom and I can present myself and like example, whenever Allen Iverson and Larry Brown were having some tit for tat, some conflict of behavior, I could go into the training room when he was getting taped or massaged and sit there and talk to AI, Bubba Chuck. I could talk to him one on one with a loving, caring feeling so he understood that what I said, I meant. And it was so I never lost that trainer's touch. You never lost the everyday workman's touch.
That's awesome.
That's the beauty of it. You treat everyone with respect. It's the golden rule, right?
Amen. And you walk that talk because, as you know, I mean, you're from Philly. You were born in Philly, weren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I
North
mean, so you are a Philly.
A block from Connie Mack Stadium, 2 blocks from
Oh,
Connie Mack
that's
Stadium. My dad was an usher there.
yeah, I know. I read that. That's amazing. So we were having it. So on Sundays here during football season, my house is the place. So all the Philadelphia, ex-Philly people congregate here at my home. We have cheesesteaks and we kill it.
Oh, you got to tell Ron.
I'll invite him.
Uh,
Is he a fan? Is he still a fan?
oh, totally. I would think. He's from Philly. What else?
Just so people know, Pat's talking about a guy he mentioned a minute ago who's a former submarine commander, Ron, who lives out here in Scottsdale now. And I'm going to call him up and meet him and hopefully interview him, but definitely have him down for an Eagles game. So we were having a conversation this past season about Connie Mack Stadium, and none of us, and I'll tell you, I hang out with some guys that are Philadelphia sports encyclopedias, but nobody in the room could say the exact location of Connie Mack Stadium.
21st and Lehigh.
Nice. There you go, Pooch. and Czar. That's the name of the two guys.
Ooch, yeah, that's
Pooch,
good.
Pooch, and Czar are the two encyclopedia guys. 21st and Lehigh. So, all right. So then, you had a. It's tough to be loved in Philly, and you are. And some of the
Thank you.
stories, yeah, man. You when you were part owner, you were known for creating the opportunity for employees of the Sixers to get floor level seats.
No, well, here's exactly how that goes.
Okay.
The 4 front row seats underneath the basket.
Yeah.
The home bench was just to your left. 4
Yeah.
seats. They were Brian Roberts, Comcast tickets, who was my partner, the majority partner,
Oh, cool.
for his tickets. And when he didn't use them, he allocated to me for my use, but I didn't put in, I rarely put in anyone doing business with the Sixers. I would put in janitors and
Yeah, concessionaires and shit.
employees. Yeah, I mean, you could see, I'd tell them, put your brushes down. Like, because I
See,
always
that's
thought
nice.
that.
Right on.
Wouldn't you do that if you had, you're like a
If I
genie.
could, yeah.
Yeah, you're like a
Right.
genie. Every home
They
game.
must have gone berserk. Like you say, put your broom down. You're going to watch the game
Yeah,
downtown.
I had my assistant call their direct
Yeah.
report their manager and tell them, okay, these 4 guys they're going to sit down, and they would have beers and food delivered to
Oh
them.
man, that's so good.
That's everything.
So awesome. Hey, can you tell the story of and this is, I think that this is beautiful. Like no diss on the main character here whatsoever. In fact, that's not what the story is about, is my understanding. But when Bill Clinton requested to come hang in Game 3 of some playoff series into the owner's suite, how'd that go down?
Now, let me clarify that
Okay.
he was the ex-president, but they was
Ex-president,
president. He
correct,
wasn't the
correct,
sitting president.
right, okay.
However, I get a call from NBA headquarters, David Stern's office, that President Clinton wants to be in my box. It might have been the Lakers game, or it was 2001. It was during one of those great series. It was either Toronto, Milwaukee, or Lakers. And he wanted to come into my box and sit there. And he was just coming back from Wimbledon. I said, no way. Wait, I mean, he comes in, then he has to have his entourage and his Secret Service and all my buddies, the
Yeah.
river rats and corner guys and bikers and anyone from the street to the elite who was with me during this journey from worst to first over 5 years are
Yeah.
going to be axed out. And
Mm.
everyone's going to have to sit there on their hands, those who are left. No way.
Yeah,
No.
you're safe. You're safe here with the
No. And so next thing I know, 2 boxes down is Comcast box.
Mm.
There's our suite that I would take during the Sixers games, and
Yeah.
that's not during the Flyers games. A box, and then another one. Brian Roberts calls me and says, Pat, what happened? I had to give my box up to President Clinton. I said, well, no, you didn't. He said, well, yes, I did. I said, well, I didn't, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so, Chris, so funny. During the game, and I would only let the dance team come out 3 or 4 times and they leave. They weren't like cheerleaders. This was a show.
Mm.
I had a show on that court. So when you saw whether it was a halftime show with Teddy Prendergast or Boyz II Men or Patti LaBelle, it didn't matter. Whoever sang the national anthem, it was a show from the beginning, from the jump street. So we're looking over there. Everyone's looking. There's the president, just 1 box over, sitting in the first row, but he's not paying attention to the game. However, at the break of the first quarter, the dance team comes out. You see him reach below, get out the binoculars, and he's watching the dance team. We were laughing and hooting and hollering.
Oh, that's funny shit. That story got better than I thought it would. That's outstanding. So then, more recently, we'll fast way forward. I don't know. Was it about 8 years ago?
I don't know. What is it?
You retreated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know where you were going.
Yeah, I didn't give you much of a cue there. So it's a big segue. But you we just say it was upper, well, whatever. Uh, you got your own space out there outside of Philly, right? And you went,
Well, that wasn't started. That came afterward. So it was 8 years ago, January, exactly January 20th of 2015. I happened to be on a plane going down to Key West where I had operations. However, I had retired January 1st, 2015. I just turned 60 2 months earlier, Day of the Dead, November 2nd, All Souls Day. And my son and son-in-law were running the operations in St. Augustine and Key West, our bars and restaurants and museums. And I was heading back down with Diane, and I happened to pick up a magazine, Chris, just a travel magazine. And in it was this article by a guy named Pico Iyer. Never heard of him.
hmm,
Iyer. And in this article, he had a sentence. Most of our life occurs in our head. Memory, imagination, speculation, interpretation. So if you want to change your life, you best begin by changing your mind.
hmm,
And I went, that's what I did. I went, And it was kind of like a no mind moment that the Zen masters call a satori. You transcend the mind and you're just blank, thinking, it's like an aha moment, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I went, can you change your mind? I could change a body. I can change my opinion, but can you change your mind? So then I saw he did a TED talk. So when I got to Key West, I went on and he had a TED talk on stillness. Now, why the hell stillness would interest me is still one of the first fascinating, mystifying concepts in this whole journey.
Yeah.
However, I watched it. And I really thought stillness meant stilling the body. I didn't know it meant stilling your thoughts, stilling your mind. And it led me to a second talk by Andy Podicombe, who I had since found out created the meditation app Headspace, which
Oh, yeah, that went well.
and he's juggling for 10 minutes talking about meditation. And for me, it was kind of like, I thought of meditation as the woo-woo stuff guys did in college just to pick up the hippie chicks, but that was in like the 70s, TM and that like.
Yeah.
And then that led me to a third talk on happiness by this monk, Mathieu Ricard, this French interpreter for the Dalai Lama, who 2 years later, I dragged Diane, my wife, up to Bhutan in the Himalayas
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that. I want
to be
definitely
with
want to talk to
them
you
for
about that.
three
Can we
weeks.
get to that a
Nevertheless,
little bit? Can we get to that? I definitely want to hear about that.
sure. But hey, no one really knows where I'm going in 3 weeks now. I mean, I'm heading to Tibet. I go to Tibet in 3 weeks. By myself, I'm heading to Tibet and going, starting in Kathmandu, go over to Lhasa, where the Dalai Lama's palace is, where he used to be his home. And then from there, transverse the entire country of Tibet to go to the sacred mountain, Mount Kailash, and do what's called a 3-day kura, a circumambulation of the mountain up to 18,500 feet. You come back, like I got sleeping bag. I'm getting ready. I mean, I'm there by myself. I think
Wow,
there's
man.
another dozen people, but I don't know who they are from around I don't even know where they are. I don't know. I'm doing this by myself because no one wants to go, but I'm training really hard. Hey, speaking of the flyers, so I am doing what I used to make them do. In addition to hill climbing, I'm doing a wall seat. You know how you sit against the wall like you're in
Yes,
a.
yes, yes.
So I'm doing that, and this morning I hit 4 minutes.
Holy shit, man.
So my goal is five
And how
minutes.
old are you now?
I'm 68.
That's
Resting
impressive.
heart rate this morning was 48.
Holy shit, man.
So I'm in good enough shape to do this. It's just it's a bumpy ride. That's why my wife
48.
said, "No way." I'm going because when I took her to
Killing it,
Bhutan,
man.
one road around
I
the whole.
can't wait to hear about this. Is it good? Oh, wow. That's so great. Now, you said you're starting in KTM? You're going to start
Yeah,
in Nepal?
well,
Okay.
that's where I fly into from Philly through.
Okay. I have one of my closest friends in the world. She's an actress in India. She's from KTM. Okay.
Ah,
So after we stop recording, she's actually a former podcast guest, Manisha. Her name's Manisha Koirala. She was on the show, and she's a dear, dear friend
wonderful.
of mine. I'm going to introduce you guys in case there's a
Sure,
moment for you guys to meet.
sure. No, I'll have a moment
It would be incredible. Well, so
because
I'll.
I'm going 2 days earlier just to acclimate to the time difference.
Sure.
It's an
Yeah,
11-hour time
that
difference.
makes
The
sense.
altitude's not too bad at Kathmandu. That's only 5,000 feet. The 18.5, now that's a different story.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
so I'm wearing my crazy ass daughter bought me for an advanced Father's Day gift one of those elevation training masks that you
Oh, wow.
adjust the orifice so
Yeah.
that get no air in there, and so it's like
You're getting used to wow.
walking in the
How
thin air.
fascinating. Sweet. Are you going to document any of this?
I journal every day anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah, just for my own
So
purposes.
back to our history lesson where you started with, you said Bhutan. We're talking about how you eventually went off the grid for a while. You went into an inner exploration.
So that was that day, January 20th of
Yeah. Yeah.
2015.
You're on the plane.
I didn't think it was anything. I wasn't a spiritual seeker. I wasn't in search of enlightenment or awakening. I never even heard mindfulness until that Andy Podacombe. I didn't even know what it meant. I never, Chris, gave any mind to the nature of my mind. Never. I
Mm.
was so fascinated with doing, becoming, doing that I never sat still enough to like never realized that nothing in the external world is bringing me the happiness and peace that I'm seeking. I'd never listened and said, cut, and turned around and went the other direction, inward. This was the beginning of an entirely different journey.
So you're on a plane and there was a magazine on the plane.
Magazine, just a
You just
magazine.
pick up the damn magazine and
That was the beginning. That was truly,
all
and
right.
I've always been curious. To have that energy of curiosity was one of my greatest gifts. I was always curious and always asking questions.
That right there, let's slow that down because that's a takeaway for everybody. That is a takeaway. That could be the thing for some people. Ted
But
Lasso,
Chris,
right?
let me
You
tell
got to
you,
be a Ted Lasso fan.
here's how it works. This is 1995. I just retired. I had sold my company and I didn't know what I was going to do next. I wasn't going to retire at 40 years old, however old, 41 years old. And I'm in a Barnes and Noble bookstore, Borders. And I used to go there on Sundays because I love to read. And I saw an article about how the NBA was on the upswing and the Sixers were on the downswing and da. And I thought to myself, wow, what if? And I'll give you another nugget that people might relate to, a 3-word mantra at the time. I didn't know the term mantra, but I use that now. Relationships determine results. I had a relationship with the former owner of the 76ers, Harold Katz, who
Yeah.
got his money as the creator of Nutrisystem. And if I didn't, I would never have had the opportunity to invite him to lunch. I was his conditioning coach for the Philadelphia 76ers, as we talked about with Dr. J and
Right.
Barkley and Mo. That relationship allowed me to have the result of eventually creating the dynamic of buying the team from him, bringing Comcast on board, and boom, and the rest just unfolded. Ron Rubin, my friend, introduced me to Comcast. But it was the curiosity of this article, Inner Borders of Barnes & Noble, which I went, wow, what if? What if? And everyone thought the Sixers at the time sucked, and they did. I mean, but they only won 18 games out of an 82-game schedule that year. But to me, I thought, yes,
Yeah.
what an opportunity.
Uh, are you a Ted Lasso fan?
Yes.
So when I say be curious, you know the scene that I'm referring to?
Oh, with the darts?
Yeah.
Well, see, that was that. And all the people who are part of my Sangha, Ron is one of them, several hundred on Sundays. I've been doing it for almost 4 years.
And shout out to Tim Mooney, who's the person that introduced us.
Yeah, Tim Mooney,
Tim
one
Mooney,
of the first sadhanas. I give a sadhana every week,
Hmm.
which is a tool, an instrument. A sadhana is an exercise, and you can do it if you choose to do it. And all it is to bring you into the awareness of the present moment. All of them. But this one, 4 years ago, September, the first one was substitute judgment with curiosity.
Oh my God.
That was 4 years ago.
Oh, they got it from you.
And when I saw this on
Jason Sudeikis stole it from you, man.
I saw it on the Ted Lasso show. I go, yes, wonderful. I think we even played that snippet on Sangha afterward.
Yeah, so that's a good.
Oh, it's not mine. You know what? I think I stole that from the Dalai Lama. So nothing's new.
Exacto. But yeah.
Oh, you want to hear my only thing new?
Of
This
course.
might be a bug. This might be a bullet for people to take home.
Okay.
This is something that I've created from all the teachings, the perennial teachings that go, and all I do is in my journal put them in a way that work for me, and then I share them from my experience. And I
Okay.
always say, don't believe anything I say.
Right.
Take it on a provisional basis and see if it works for you. And what it means working for you is, does it bring more peace and happiness on the inside and less drama, conflict on the outside? Less suffering on the outside, more equanimity and serendipity on the outside,
Mm.
and more just a feeling of fulfillment on the inside. This is it. The Zen proverb goes, how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to take that how and say, how you do what you do, Chris, in the now creates the wow. The
Ah,
how in
nice.
the now creates the wow. So just imagine whatever your goal is.
Right.
I say, don't be attached to it. Set up the plan to go to it. You set up, you have your vision, your purpose, you break it down into strategies. You take each strategy, you break it into goals. You take each goal, break it down into strategies. You take the strategies and break them down into action steps. You put them on your to-do list. And each and every one of those action steps is not a means to an end, is an end unto itself. You put full mindfulness in the present moment on purpose on that action steps, whether it's to call Chris, whether it's to jot, I need milk and bread down, whatever it might be, but you do it fully attentive in the now, the how and the now. And that's a celebratory event. When you check it off, that's celebration. So if you have check marks all day long and what you don't get, you move to the next day on your to-do list, how can the outcome not be a stupendous success?
So say it again for me one more time. How you
The
do.
how in the now creates the wow. How
All
you
right. How
do
in the now creates the wow.
how you do whatever you do with whomever you're doing it, wherever you're doing it,
Yeah.
you do it your best and allow the divine universe and God to take care of the rest.
Beautiful. All right, let's go back to the history lesson. This is fun. I like the way this is going. This is pretty cool. It's definitely nonlinear. It's beautiful. And I'm doing a little Sherpa. You know what? I got a note here. This is so fun that you're going up there. This is a reminder to myself every once in a while. I am a conversational Sherpa.
Well, I love that.
Yeah. So I'm Sherpaing right
You're
now.
not carrying any baggage.
Exactly.
Leave the baggage at the front door.
Or, okay, either that or let the yaks take care of it.
Let the yaks take care of it. No baggage. You can always pick it up on the front porch on the way out of this time we have together. But right now, all of your tribe, leave all the baggage, the beliefs, the concepts, the desires, expectations, fears, comparisons, guilt, leave them all at the door.
So you get turned on to the inner world inquiry experience.
Right. The Vichara, Atma Vichara.
What?
Yep. Well, the way you said it, I thought you knew. Yeah, that the inner world inquiry
Yeah.
is called Atma Vichara. Atma meaning the self, the inquiry about the self. Who am I? What is the nature of the knowing with which I know this experience? That inquiry takes you inward. You use the mind instead of allowing the mind to abuse you.
Okay, there we go. So I'm just trying to finish the history lesson. You ain't
Okay,
gonna,
you keep
you
going.
ain't gonna let me.
Oh, yes, I will.
Just for helping people along the deal. So, all right. So, but you unplugged, or I don't know if you unplugged or not, but you
I
went.
did.
You're off the grid.
Yeah.
Did you seriously build your own damn log cabin?
No, not our home, but I did build a log cabin in the woods because I wanted. It's about 2016, a year later, and I said, "Hon, I don't want to be. I want to be in the woods."
Diane, you're talking about to your wife?
Yes, my wife of in January 45 years.
Wow.
In
Yeah.
November was our 50 years from our first date. So
That's amazing.
just
That's
think Saint
amazing.
Diane. She was with me the whole journey the entire time. So the whole everything every kind of
What a
but this
ride.
time when I said you want to go to Tibet, she said, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to Tibet. That's
Okay.
exactly what she said.
Philly girl. I assume she's a Philly. Of course, she's a Philly girl.
Oh, kid Alden, Delaware County. She's a Delco.
Velco. Sweet.
That was me. As a matter of fact, I'm bringing a Delco sweatshirt. I'm wearing it at the
Yes,
top.
you are. Damn it.
I am.
Love
And a
it.
buddy of mine gave me these cigars, and the cigar
Uh,
band has Buddha on it, and they're called Satori. How cool is that? I'm going to make sure I have one
that?
of those up
How
there.
perfect is that? You're gonna bring a stick? I'm saying.
Ah, no one knows this. You're the first one I'm telling, but I
Okay. Oh, that's great, man.
might light on fire with the oxygen only being at
Yeah, no
48%.
shit. So you unplug. You're off
Yeah,
the
I
grid.
really,
You've got a
so
little space for yourself.
I
Now, was
built a
Diane with
cabin.
you?
Excuse me?
Was Diane with you when you went off?
No, she travels back and forth. Now, I didn't say I'm going off the grid, but I had this home built and a, a, a barn which has my workshop, and I started getting into woodworking
Yeah.
and Chinese calligraphy. I got an art
Oh,
studio there. So I did build, to answer your question, a log cabin in my Zen path back in the woods. This is a lot of acreage. And so that was really, I wanted to build these trails. I hand built, physically built 3 miles of trails on this property.
whoa.
One of which you can walk, the other two you can drive a gator, a John Deere around. So, but it's great because to me, I have two dogs, Sachi and Maya, which came after the fact, and it's just follow your enthusiasm. I'm just going flowing with the Tao, just allowing whatever unfolds. And so I did. I disappeared, and the only reason no one could find me. I wouldn't do any interviews. I wouldn't do sports radio. ESPN would call, with a lot of AI stuff. Sixers no good. They were trying to get me. No, I'm not interested. I did come out when my body was diagnosed with cancer.
Mhm.
And I realized that that was a sign that I should come out and help others deal with the pain and suffering that may exist when they have a diagnosis. And I hooked up with the American Cancer Society, and I became a spokesperson for them a couple of years ago and raised a couple million for
Yeah,
them.
yeah, right. We'll talk about that. Healed. So, which is a cool acronym, by the way. And well, the acronym is health and energy through active living every day. But when you were going quiet and going into the Atma Vachara, the self-inquiry, did you have a cell phone?
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
you have a TV?
Yes. Oh no, I didn't go off the grid in the sense where I just disappeared into a sleeping bag. I am going to do that in 3 weeks from now.
Sure.
But nevertheless, no, 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 I was not attached to anything. So that is, if you're really going off the grid, how people do it is fine. But my off the grid was just to have a lot of soul time. Soul mean a capital S, just true. So when I say soul, I mean self time. My soul and your soul is the same soul. I don't believe we have separate souls. That's just a spiritual ego acting. No, I believe the self that I am is the same self that you are. That I am, that God said I am. It's no different. That's I am. We just qualify with I am white, I am 68,
Yeah.
I am 6 foot. No, forget about all the qualifications and just rest in that aware presence. That's really, so I wanted space to do that. However, you could still contact me, people, but no one really could find me because I really wasn't available for interviews or, I would still post on Twitter. However, I
So you were
wasn't,
doing woodworking, you were teaching yourself Chinese calligraphy. Were you reading a lot? Were you
yes. Oh, I have an
what
unbelievable library.
so give me a little bit of like what were you reading? And then this was like 6 years, wasn't it?
8.
8 years?
Well, it's 8 years ago when I
8 years
started.
ago, but then when you got cancer, it was like
Oh,
two.
no, that was only a couple years ago. That
Yeah,
was, I don't know when that was. I don't know about the past too good.
right. But yeah, so what's like some of your great reads?
Oh, wow.
I know there's a million. It doesn't. It's
Yeah,
not.
but you
I'm not
can
asking.
go.
I'm not asking you for your favorites. I'm not doing that. I'm
Well,
just
no, no, let me give you some of the ones that I would recommend to
all
your
right. Yeah.
audience, to
All
the
right.
tribe.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of them may go, nah, I'm not interested. Don't be interested then. But, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle,
Hey.
that Q&A comes from, in the mid 80s, there was a guy named Nisargadatta Maharaj.
I
Nisargadatta,
am that.
that's it. It's one of my favorite. Be As You Are, Ramana Maharshi. Uh, Rupert Spira, Being Aware of Being Aware.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a great one is The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer.
Just got that.
Oh, you're going to love it. And
Oh, he did a follow-up one.
his second book is The Surrender Experiment.
Yeah, okay.
And there is another one
No,
on,
there's another one
yeah, a
that,
new one.
yeah, Bob Berg recommended it to me. Do you know who Bob Berg is? Bob Berg is the author. This is a beautiful human being. Bob Berg is the author of this amazing book called The Go-Giver.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's the co-author with John David Mann. But anyway, but he just recommended that the follow-up to Untethered Soul. Yeah. So you did all this great reading and all this amazing stuff, and then you got cancer. And
Well,
then,
wait a second. Wait. I didn't get cancer.
oh,
My body was diagnosed with cancer.
okay.
Big difference.
Okay. Tell me, what's the difference?
Well, I'm not my body.
After that.
No, just like I'm not the voice in my head.
Hmm.
And if your tribe is saying what voice, that one. Those thoughts that are emanating in your mind continuously, that chatter, is not who I am because they come and go. I'm that which is aware of them coming and going. The sensations in my body, the tingling at the soles of your feet right now, you're aware of them. They come and go, but you're aware of them. That doesn't change. The perceptions of the world, they come and go. Close your eyes, everything's gone. Open them, there they are. The thoughts, sensations, feelings, images, perceptions, they all come and go. They flow with the universe. However, one thing never changes. One thing is not temporary. One thing is not localized. One thing is not limited. That which I am. I am that book you said, that's what he's saying. I am that which is aware. The presence of being aware. You, Chris, your tribe, listening to me right now, right there, is just being aware. That's reality. Awareness is the reality that is hearing my words right now. I'm not saying it's localized in your body. I'm not saying anything. I'd rather you say you not know where it is than say, oh, it's limited to my body. There's no proof that that which is aware of my words and aware of seeing, perceiving us right now on this screen is related to the body. There's no proof, no evidential proof. And that I am, that being aware, the I that I am is aware that I am. I is the being. I is aware. Amness, the isness, is being. I am being aware. The aware presence right now, right now. Once you start thinking about it, you're not. The mind kicks in. The mind needs time. The mind can't operate in the now. The mind has to think about it and say, what the hell's he talking about? However, right there, just in that space of quiet, stillness, you're just aware. That's peace. You lack nothing. That's happiness. You're not different than anyone else. That's love. That's truly who we are by nature. And it takes time, it takes inquiry, because that who am I, that Atma Vichara, it's a really slow process. But once you know, Chris, you cannot not know. Once you know there's a voice in the head, and the thoughts aren't yours, the thoughts aren't true, they aren't you, you let them flow through. No thought is true. Not one frickin' thought is true, absolutely true. The only true statement is, I am. Because you know you are. And that never leaves, that's ever present. The three signs of absolute truth: one, ever present. Two, never changes. The I that I am, the absolute presence that I am, not the body mind, the absolute aware presence is ever present, never changes, and self-evident. You know it by being it. It's like the sun illuminates itself, it heats itself by being itself. It doesn't need anyone else to tell it who it is. You know it by being it. It's the only way. It transcends the mind. The mind can't think about it. It can't think about the I am. It can't think about being aware. As soon as it thinks about it, you're out of just the present now.
You know what? So, there's a large portion of my career where I was working exclusively on the mental game with athletes, competitive athletes, right? You know what I'm hearing you describe right now?
Flow,
Yeah, man.
the zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, everyone can be in that. I call it meditation in motion. You don't have to sit on a cushion and play incense and ring a bell, the Tibetan bell, to meditate. Meditation can be a practice, but it's who you are, the how and the now. That's when you vertically invest your being in the doing. That's flow.
You use the word vertically right there.
Right. Because it's only now. Think of a crucifix. Jesus hung out in the now, the vertical column. The horizontal part is past and future. Nah, everything, vertical
That's
integration,
interesting.
intervention. I love that Buddhist proverb. Pain is inevitable. People don't understand that.
Okay, let's go there. Does that make sense to go there right now?
Oh, anything you go, because everything you say is perfect. There's another quote. There's another 3-word mantra that I love. That's Zen. Never not perfect. People would say you're full of crap, Pat. No, it is. It is what it is. It can't be otherwise, so it's perfect. Whether you say God, Brahman, the Tao, the consciousness, divine, universe, however it unfolds, is perfect. Doesn't mean you can't help it change, but in the present moment, it's perfect. However, that pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. I love that shirt because in the human experiment, in our experience, we all have pain. Look, I was in a severe motorcycle accident. My body underwent cancer. I mean, there's so many broken bones in my karate competition days. That pain is inevitable. Suffering, however, is truly a choice. You do not have to suffer. No one listening to your podcast right now needs to suffer. It's optional. Now, the suffering that I'm talking about is fear-based. Love-based suffering, as in grief or sadness with a loss of a loved one, that's love manifesting as grief with tears. That's a different kind of suffering. It's love-based. It's love emanating out into the universe. However, fear-based suffering, resisting what is right now. I want what is not now. That's the whole sentence of suffering. Resisting.
Can you repeat that? Would you repeat? Go ahead. Yeah.
Suffering boils down to one sentence. I don't like what is now.
Yeah.
I want what is not now. That's it. Resistance and seeking, fear and desire. That's all suffering is. We don't want what is. How stupid is that? It is already. How can you not just accept it and move on? That's the whole idea of spiritual awakening. You awaken to your true self. You're not the voice in your head. You're not the body, the symptoms and the sensations in the body. The body is an instrument. Please don't get me wrong. The body is an instrument to be utilized by the divine as a means for her to witness the world as herself. I like to say her so that people don't think it's some man up there with a beard like you and me. I think Hafiz, the 14th century Sufi mystic, said this line that I love. I am the hole in the flute that the Christ breath moves through. Listen to this music. We're holes in the flute, so do your best at making the clearest, most spectacular hole so that the great musician can play her music. And that music can be in your podcast, it can be in your carpentry, it can be in your gardening, it could be in your dancing, it could be in your cooking meals, in your vacuum cleaning, in your raising children. Just be the best hole in the flute that you possibly can be. And then you merge with the music.
So what does that look like? So for somebody that's listening to this and saying, that sounds really wonderful. How do I practice that?
Oh, that's good. That's really good. First, you have to realize that what you have and what you want, get that space a little closer. The wider the space, the more you suffer. What you have now and what you want, if you can make them the same, what I have, I'll take. And then you just keep moving on. It's desiring something more than you have right now that causes this inner angst. 2, be wondering what is unfolding before me is for me, not to me. Whatever happens before you is for you. It doesn't, the universe doesn't happen to you. The universe knows exactly what you need. It doesn't give a flying what you want. Doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
It knows what you need. So if you look at everything, Chris, as a pointer to the truth with a capital T, meaning a pointer to awakening, to enlightenment, to realizing your true self of peace, love, and happiness. And once you uncover that enlightenment, which we all are, this is one path where the goal we start at. We start at the goal and we uncover, we excavate all these conditioned beliefs. However, now everything that happens before you is a pointer, as Bruce Lee said in Enter the Dragon, a finger pointing away to the moon, which comes back from Buddha. However, you can also, once awakened, realize that everything happens before you is also a pointer to celebrate the truth, to dance, to enjoy life, to take your dharmic skill set, your special skills that God gave you, and bring them out. Bring them. I never knew I could do woodworking. I never knew I could do Chinese calligraphy. I never knew I could draw. And I got all kinds of cool stuff.
Finish this sentence, even though I know that you just articulated on this, but finish this sentence for me if you would. I'll be happy when
There's no when.
Mm.
That's true. That is true. There's no when.
Yeah, right. Because the
can
word
be
when is a future,
right.
right? Like
Future desire.
when is the paper coming, or when is dinner going to be ready? It's always a few. Like when are you going to?
Chris, the Bhagavad Gita, one of the ancient Hindu books of wisdom, has really one major theme. Do not be attached to the fruits of your action.
Do not be attached to the fruits of, so outcome.
Right. No.
So surrender.
No, you can set it. You can set it, but come back into the now, because with your eye to the when, you're missing life now. So most people don't live life. They think about living life. As Ram Dass would say, the spiritual teacher, most people are one thought away from where all the action is. Next, Chris, there are those people who vacillate between being mindful of what they're doing and losing themselves in thought, past or future, pulling from the past, projecting worries into the future. And they vacillate between pain and pleasure, mindfulness and some sort of thought-produced angst, suffering. Then there are those who align with life, and they're mindful of the how and the now, and so they're enjoying life, even if it could be not enjoyable for most people, whether it's boring or they're just in the now. And then there are those who allow life to live through them, the hole in the flute. They come back and welcome how life unfolds. And that could mean a diagnosis of cancer. That could mean, so I was asked numerous times, from on a scale from 1 to 10, what's your angst level with this diagnosis, with the radiation, the surgery? I had T-cell lymphoma. I said, I'm not off 0. It doesn't bother me. It's nothing. If anything, it's an impetus for me to meet new people. It was, to me, it was an adventure.
What an amazing interpretation of reality right there.
Oh, it gave me, like going to Tibet, people are, the high altitude sickness and the travel will be boring on dangerous roads. And, my stomach, the stomach of my body has a restrictive diet. Well, so what? Look at I'm going to come back with like, what's going to unfold for me? Whatever happens will be wonderful.
Living in a happening to me or happening for me world. John Dorenbos brought that up in our episode.
Beautiful. Well, look it. If someone truly, the universe kicked him in everywhere, and he took it.
For those that are listening to this who don't know who John Dorenbos is, to give some meaning to that reference right there, John Dorenbos is a former Tough Talks guest also. John Dorenbos currently holds the record for the most consecutive games played for the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's got an unbelievable story. The piece that's super relevant that Pat and I are elaborating upon right now was like, if a guy whose father bludgeoned his mother to death with a sledgehammer in their garage when he was 12 years old, can heal from that and give forgiveness for all of that, and then say life doesn't happen to me, it happens for me, then we can all adopt that belief.
Amen.
Well, I want to be sensitive to your time because I think you got something coming up here. Favorite cheesesteak place?
Geno's.
Really?
Well,
Really?
I don't eat them anymore, but nevertheless,
All right. All right.
when I did,
You don't eat them anymore? Do you eat?
well, I don't eat wheat, so I don't eat
Okay.
bowls.
You're a
However,
cheesesteak bowl.
they took Clinton's picture above the window down and put mine up there back in the day.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Seriously? Oh, that's beautiful.
When I was raising money for 911, this was 914, I went to Joey Vento, who was alive at the time, Gino's his son, and asked if he would help. He gave us all the proceeds, for some crazy, I think it was 24 hours, 120 grand in cash.
Oh, what?
That's a lot of cheesesteaks.
Yeah, man. Holy shit. Good on Geno's. Right on. So, one of my favorite things is about being from the Philadelphia area is the way we speak. Right. So, G yet? Almost nobody knows
Academy.
that. Yeah, and I love how we offer answers to our questions. How you doing? Good.
Yeah. And
I'm taking it.
my dad used to say use.
Use. Yeah. I use go down to shore today or tomorrow. I hear the water's cold. Man, well, this could go on all day. I wish it would. Thank
Got
you.
10 more minutes?
Fuck yes, yes,
Let's go.
absolutely. Yeah. All right. Sweet. Practice. I do pledge to my tribe, as I mentioned to you, that every episode will give them something, at least one. And we already did give one, which is be curious. So it's a thing. It's a practice, right? And what else, if anything, and it could be a practice in being, not doing. I don't care. Whatever you comes up for you.
Chris, I got a great one.
Okay, let's go.
We talked about the voice in the head.
Yeah.
And if your followers, this is really to me the first big step on the spiritual path, to recognize that you are not the voice in your head, that those thoughts are cosmic convergence of countless causes over time and space that's centered right into your mind, but you can't control that. I'm not saying to stop thinking. The only way you can stop thinking is if you can stop the clouds moving. No, thinking will happen. You just observe it and let it go in the front door, come on in, don't give it any coffee or donuts, right out the back door. So to be observant of the voice in the head is really powerful. So one thing that I recommend, and it doesn't have to be a sitting practice of meditation. However, if at a time you want to be still and not think, because all understanding, all answers come between thoughts. A thought doesn't think. A thought is thought. Understanding or true thinking, intelligence, arises within thoughts. A tree, the thought of a tree, doesn't think what I'm going to have for lunch. You still, all creation, art, science, math, everything, your greatest intentions come when you're still between thoughts. So how do you get still? Not by saying stop thinking. That's the ego will just pervade and get stronger. Here's a little way that I call the red balloon. It's the red balloon. As soon as you catch your mind in this monkey mind, swinging from thought to thought, screeching and hollering in your mind, and you want to quiet it down, I want you to imagine a red balloon. And in this red balloon, I want you to place in bold letters the word thinking. Now, this red balloon has the bold letters thinking in it. Now, Chris, I want you to do this with me.
Okay.
I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, focus on the air coming in, and now exhale through your mouth And as you exhale, let the air come under the red balloon and lift the red balloon into the sky. And if it takes another breath, take another breath in through your nose and out through the mouth, and let the balloon, the red balloon, lift higher and higher and higher into the blue sky until it's a speck, until the speck disappears in the blue sky. There, you're not thinking. For that brief moment, it's just without thought. And what is it when without thought? You're at peace.
Peace.
You're fulfilled. When the mind comes in afterwards, says, well, what do you mean peace? No, forget about the mind. What you felt, remember, feeling understanding, that felt understanding the only way you know it is by being it. And that's just a little, I call it the red balloon exercise. And it's great for, even during meditation, but it's great in the car. It's great on the John. It's great anytime. Just one, you focus on the breath. You don't realize that you're meditating. For those of your followers that don't meditate, that's meditation.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are really enthusiastic and joyful in whatever you're doing at that time, without judgment, that's meditation. And I recommend another doing is to journal. Write a journal of these tips and instruments and tools that Chris has given you in your journal, because the mind doesn't remember everything. I have journals dating back, this is my 20th one I'm on, and I didn't date the beginning ones. I had to go back and find according to my calendar, because I didn't think journal didn't mean anything to me. I was just trying to take notes from the first book I read was The Art of Happiness, the Dalai Lama's book. That was the first book, and it came across my path serendipitously. And anything that's serendipity, I think, oh, that's God tickling me. Okay, give me that.
So thank you for those. I love the practice. I love the red balloon. So I'm practicing quieting, letting my thoughts go, becoming a disinterested observer of the activity of my mind, letting, it can't not be true.
You're allowing, you're welcoming and allowing. Don't force it. It's not Wei Wu Wei goes back to the Tao Te Ching, the great Chinese book of wisdom from the 2,500 years ago. Wei Wu Wei is effortless action. That's when you're in the flow, like you train your athletes. So allow, don't resist, don't attachment or aversion. Don't attach to it, but don't avert it either. Whatever comes up, and let it go. I say, strengthen your let it go muscle. That's just a text. Someone wants
it's not
that's Lauren. That's my assistant Lauren saying, I hope everything went well. She doesn't know we're still on.
Oh, that's so awesome. Hey, Lauren.
You build your let it go muscle by allowing thoughts to come. Let them tell their story and let it go. Just no stickiness.
Strengthen your letting go muscle. Is that it?
Let it go. Let it go muscle.
Let it go muscle.
It's a let it go. The stronger you make it, the more you can let everything go. Someone will call you a putz. Oh, let it go. What's it matter? I don't believe the voice in my head. Why would I believe the voice in yours?
Are you an Alan Watts fan?
Oh, I love Alan Watts.
How do you not, right?
I love him. That's why I started Chinese calligraphy in 2000. I watched a PBS on him. He had a show in 1959. He would start each one with a Chinese calligraphy, like observation was the first one I watched. And I saw this, I went, oh, and that real Alan Watts turned me on to Chinese calligraphy. Oh, I have all of his books. His latest one is Talking Zen by his son, edited by his son.
Oh, neat.
It's all of his talks, but only about 40 of them extracted where he talks about Zen in particular. And Zen is a way of being. It's not a way of becoming. It's not a way of believing. It's just a way of two words that make up Zen, just this. That's it. And Alan Watts is so good at saying that in his brilliant method.
I have thoughts, but I am not my thoughts. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, here's my little poem that was mine from the beginning in my journal. Thoughts aren't true. Thoughts aren't you. Let them flow through. Thoughts aren't true. There's not one thought that's true, not absolutely true, because it doesn't stay, it leaves. And no thought is true, not one. The only concept is that you can experience is I am. I am is a concept, but you can experience. You know you are, right? That's true. And you never not are, you are. You're always you. You always are. I am. That's truth. That's absolute truth. The other ones are concepts. They can be true one day, not true. That's why beliefs are full of shit. I don't believe in anything. Experiential understanding is the only means of truth.
I believe the
Dogma doctrine,
Hmm?
not dogma doctrine, beliefs, hearsay, opinions. You can have them, fine.
You know what I love to believe that the Eagles, the Phillies, the Sixers, the Flyers, and Villanova basketball games really, really, really do fucking matter. I love believing that. I love
Oh,
believing that.
you know what? That is a belief, and it's a belief you're attached to because when they don't win, you suffer. So it's a belief you're attached to. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
I
My
understand.
other question is my good question that I pose to people, which is a Vichera question, an investigate. How's that working for you?
At the moment.
That's it. Yeah, I know, but that's it. That's with everyone. I don't care. You can go to church every morning. How's it working for you?
Yeah.
To me, it's always how's it working for you? If it's bringing peace, happiness, and love. I mean, if you're going to church every morning, but you don't hold the door for someone behind you going out of church, like, how's it working for you?
That's great. That's great. Hey, so is the Sangha, is that like, how do people get involved? Well, actually, I don't think you kind of referenced it, but can we tell people
Well,
what
the
you,
only way you can get on is if you're recommended by someone on Sangha. And I don't allow
okay,
anyone
Roger
to,
that.
to use Sangha's social media. So because something can be taken out of context.
Sure.
Like you can take any one of my sentences here and take it out of context. I don't believe in. They'll say, well, you don't believe in God. Well, God is a concept, no. With a man who judges with a beard and punishes, no. However, do you know love? Chris, do you know love?
Yes.
You know love. You feel love. You know love.
Yes.
Love is. Love is. God is. God is. Whatever God is, God is. Whatever God is, the supreme being, the creator, whatever there is, the isness of everything, God. So if God is and love is, then God is love. So you and I know God, right? So that's not a belief, that's an experience. I experience love. I experience God every time I love.
Mm.
That's, heaven. Jesus said, heaven is within you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. That means right now, being aware right now is heaven. When the mind comes in, the egoic separate self mind comes in and starts giving you all this baloney, that's hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Amen.
pull in the red balloon. Put
Yeah.
amen in the red balloon. Yeah.
Anything else you want people to know about what, like, where
Well,
can they?
just so you know, the song, if you're interested in coming on, you're welcome because I'm welcoming you. Tim welcomes you. And then it's Sunday, every Sunday, 11 o'clock Eastern time. I was doing Zoom before Zoom was a household word. So it's coming into 4 years. And for 90 minutes, I never, ever, ever go over 90 minutes because I believe in your ultradian rhythms. Nothing happens after 90 minutes.
Oh, nice.
And everything, all my meetings and all my business and activities never lasted. You could set your clock to my meetings. If I said 11 o'clock, by 12:30, it's done. And if
Love
there are
that.
no hands, no questions. However, if you're on and you feel that Sangha meaning, it's a Sanskrit word for gathering.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
satsang means the gathering of being, one being. I ring a Tibetan bell each time to start, and that's the doorbell to opening the sacred space that we all share, but we share it not only during Sundays, all the time. And people are, as I told you, submarine commanders, movie producers, college professors, trial lawyers, teachers, yogis. It could be anyone doing anything. And if it resonates with you, then you can recommend other people. However, it's not for everyone.
Hmm.
Grace tickles us who wants to come. And that's it. Like this conversation we've had for the past hour isn't for everyone.
Right.
However, those who resonate with it and say, whoa. Or they get a little ping. I call it a ping, a little
Yeah.
hammer on the chisel, knocking that block of rock apart, unveiling their true self. It's a ping. It's a path of pings, a pathless path, a vertical path.
You have such a great vibe, man. Brother, I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
so much. I am so happy to have been able to spend this time with you today. Thank you so much for making it and for bringing your vibe, your remarkably high vibe to my tribe.
Chris, I love what you're doing, and thank you, really, thank you for the invitation. And I truly believe, I feel that grace has brought us together.
Yeah.
Now, for what reason? There is no why question. We never ask the why question.
Good. Have a miraculous journey in Tibet and Kathmandu, and I'll introduce you to my friend. I
Right on.
can't wait to hear about it, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Namaste.
Namaste. Man, how fun was that for me? That was all the boys. He's worked with all of my childhood sports heroes. The Doc, Julius Irving, Dr. J, and Schmitty, Mike Schmidt. Those are my two sports heroes from life. And those are my sports, basketball and baseball, and those are my guys. Dr. J and Mike Schmidt. That's why I wanted to play third. I played third base playing baseball because of Schmitty. That's cool. And the whole Key West deal. But goodness, what a fascinating man, huh? I mean, to create so much business success, right, from being a physical therapist and then growing this practice and then getting some work with the Flyers and then with the Sixers and then ultimately ascending to become a minority owner. And I love how he prioritized, just really caring, for people. Tell him, put the broom down. You're sitting down the front four rows or whatever. And you're watching the game and drinking some beers, eating a hot dog. You ain't working. You ain't sweeping up today, buddy. And I'm sorry, former President Clinton. No access. Not here. Go down to Comcast. That's awesome. And we never even got to the Bhutan. There was just so much fun, so much to discuss, and what a fascinating deal that he unplugged and really went deep into self-inquiry. So many, I'll tell you, there's obviously so many great takeaways, but I think that I think my favorite. I'd be interested in hearing. Let me know what your favorite is, but follow your enthusiasm. I think that's my favorite mic drop, but there's a bunch of them. So anyway, what an amazing human being. I hope that that was as valuable for you as I suspect it was. And thanks for tuning in. And as always, until next time, create miracles.